Well, to me, that's a suspected strike, right? Late for a run. Because wouldn't it, if you're late for a run, wouldn't it delay people getting off to work and cause them to be late?
What's wrong with have we moved out of a position where SAT 3 doesn't still have the responsibility to note reminders of procedures if they see that they're not happening? But we still have the procedure. See?
Well, I don't know if we have unless somebody writes a note. Now, stop me if I'm wrong. If someone notices something happening, they send a note to SAT 3, let's say, let's use being late for a run, okay? Let's say that the ones who leave together on a run and one individual is late just more than once, at least 3 times, and causes the others to be late. Then the one in that run could write a note to the SAT 3 people saying how could we handle it. And the way the SAT 3 people could handle it would be to put in the book that procedure is for everybody to be ready so many minutes before the departure time, right? And this is how it would happen. So I don't think we have stopped that from happening, have we? Did we stop that? You understand?
You mean, did we stop the procedure of the people who were involved in that? I guess when we stopped 3-time breakage, they thought we'd stopped it.
Well, how else can you handle that? Now, did we get something else for that, Eric?
Like the situation occurs here, for several reasons. One of them was that individuals were going to be seen. So I wrote it down. Reasons I couldn't get my dad.
How can I work it out? Should I?
Well, see, then what T is saying is it's not finding fault in someone else. It's saying, like, if I am on the run that was late, then there's nothing wrong with writing a note to SAT 3 saying, how can I handle this situation? We've never DC'd that.
You have to have some method.
In other words, you're stating my problem. You're not pointing out the fact that so-and-so is late to pick up the keys or to check out the dispatch. My problem is I was doing work and I didn't get there on time. What can I do? And then SAT 3 researches it and finds out what caused the problem that you were having, and then puts a reminder in the book, or brings it to Lincoln.
Now, if we did stop this and thinking that what we were doing at the time would be solved by not doing it, then we're reinstating it, okay? We don't want anybody researching the tapes and finding out that we did stop 3 times breakage. I mean, the notes 3 times breakage, because it isn't working if we did stop it. You understand? And we want to reinstate it to a certain extent. Like, if you as an individual are involved in something and you want to know how to handle it, but if you see somebody else doing something that you're not involved in, we're stopping that.
Yes.
Unless you're a witness to a suspected strike.
That's the difference. Like if Air Rody is late, and it's happened more than a time or two, then it's his problem that has to be solved. And he asks for help. And so research is done, reminders made, and goes to talk to the clinic. That's different. But if Air Rody sees that somebody else is late getting off, he can't do anything about it. He can't even know the 3-time breakage. because the responsibility is only within those who are involved in it, those who have a problem. If I've got a problem, then I seek help for it, right? If I'm not getting work on time, I'm seeking help for it. If the run isn't getting off when it should, let's say the first one in that run who is late would be the first one to write that help note to that treatment and to know how to handle the problem. Unless it happened only once or twice. You are you as a single or you as a unit? Like maybe the people on that run, or you as an individual on that run. But really it should be you as an individual. Like let's say that 4 people went on the run. The one who should really write that note would be the one who was affected, the one who was actually late. That would be more right.
So then, a situation like that, the needs for correcting situations for stat 3, right?
Stat 3 has to track it down and see what happened, and then put a reminder in the book to eliminate the problem.
And then if that doesn't
work, or they can't track it down, or they don't have an answer for it, they bring it to language attention and we bail them out.
See what Stat 3 does now, when they get a note from you all, or from any one of you all, saying, let's say that a certain run has been 5 minutes late, and so on, then Stat 3 copies that note onto a blue sheet, and they give us their response, and we read the response. They give us the report, then they give us their response, and if their response was correct, we say that they gave a right response, or maybe we won't say anything. But if they give the wrong response, then we call them and correct it. Okay?
Actually,
so we know about it. It isn't that we don't know.
And it is an individual thing. It's like, and the thing you can check about it is because we have told you we have given you an instruction to be on time to work. So you're not criticizing anybody. You're saying, I'm breaking an instruction. What can I do about it? I'm not getting to work on it. You see what I'm saying? Because that would apply to anything. If we've given you an instruction of this consuming to have a helping of such and such, or so many helpings of it, and it isn't happening, then I ask for help because I have an instruction to pay down to the milk or break whatever you do. And so I'm asking for help. But I cannot report that the person sitting next to me did not do it. That is of no concern to me. That person next to me has to report their person. You're not really supposed to. You're supposed to say, I have been late for my run more than once or twice now, and would you help me find out what I can do about it? And then it's Stat 3's place to go and see if they can find out why. But it's not your place to do it because you're sizing it up, and you can get into problems there because they may find that you're seeing it wrong, and they're going to be more objective as a team searching it down than you would be as one individual.
You all have to be aware that you can bring each other down if you're not careful with your thoughts. You follow that? In other words, we're trying to get you up onto a higher level of vibration. I don't know if I hate to say vibration because it sounds spiritual, but a higher level where you're walking in the air more than down on your knees in the gutter. Meaning your thoughts are higher rather than lower. Now, whenever you when you see fault in others, when you have thoughts of others, when meaning negative thoughts of them, when you even see somebody else doing something and you, it all, to sum it all up, when you are critical of anybody, when you have thoughts inside your mind or inside your brain of others, you are spreading a fume around you that others can pick up on and lower their vibration.
You're also not doing your task, the task you were sent on. You are canceling out your task. You are working against the task you were sent to do. When you see criticism or have critical thoughts or negative thoughts towards your classmates, you're sending that out to humans to do exactly the same thing.
And we're defeating our purpose.
And at that moment, we are absolutely defeating the task we were sent to do.
You want to be light. Light meaning not weighed down by your task.
Light doesn't mean careless. It just means
be happy.
Reflecting anything that would be heavy. It's bouncing off.
Nothing is as bad as it seems.
Go get you a stick and a string and sit by the pool and fish. And talk to your vehicle and get it away.
It's really, believe it or not, as you open your mouth, we can tell what level you're on at the time. And we try very hard when you're talking to lift you up so you can communicate with us with your mind. And we don't want to have to do it for you. We want you to do it. We want to be away from you a few days and to come back and find you exactly where you were when we left you.
Or better.
Or better. No, we don't want to find you where you were. We want to find you better. But, and I'm not putting you down because that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make you aware of what happens to you unconsciously. And I think the ones of you who go out of the craft and come back in, maybe you all notice it more than the ones who are in the craft all the time. But you can get a heavy feeling. You've got to be aware of a heaviness that can surround you. Because that is the biggest thing that attacks you. And that is when you have to say, that is not me, get out and leave me alone. You are interfering, and if it says, interfering with what, say it's none of your business, just leave me alone, whatever it takes. And it will eventually get the picture and leave you alone.
Right. This is one of the easiest ways that the forces against you can make simple attacks on you, is heaviness. Because if they can get you weighed down, then you're vulnerable to lots of things. If you're not weighed down and you're above it, and why do you think that even when we meet with you and are talking to you about things that are very serious, that we still at times try to lighten it by saying foolish things? You think that because some ego trip we want you all giggling at what we say?
We're comedians.
That we're comedians to be like applause. It's because we feel obligated to try to get you to stay up here and to stay above weightiness. Sometimes when we're talking about things that are pretty serious, we see that you're taking them too much this way, and that's the wrong way to take them. You can take them with just as much seriousness without their being long-faced or without their weighing on you. They don't need to weigh on you. If they weigh on you, they're going to be hard to apply.
You're really something that I have trouble getting clear is whenever I'm doing something like if I have that task or that things will be going smoothly, and all of a sudden you'll start unreasonable. And I'm just in one problem after another in my job. And the vehicle starts to get irritated. off, James, no solution, want to go this way, go that way. I'm trying to tell people, just calm down, it's not that big a deal, and it still continues to fight.
And you could switch into another gear and even be about amused by the fact that things are just one right after another. It's like, I can't believe this day. You know, it seems like everything I've touched has worked against me. Wow. You know, you really don't have to let it be a heavy experience.
Well, the thing that I have a little trouble with is knowing that I'm doing my work, even though the vehicle is trying desperately to fight against me. There's something, I guess the booger tries to make me feel like because the vehicle is fighting against me, I don't have it under total control. If I had it under total control,
You wouldn't be fighting. That's right. That's true. Because you're doing your task more successfully when it isn't appearing. Now, there's nothing wrong with boxing as long as you don't take the blows. In other words, as long as you are keeping your protection and it is not interfering with staying where you need to stay. And that's, in other words, you want to have that kind of protection when you're being attacked or when you aren't being attacked. A lot of you have a little while of not being attacked, and you let your guard down, and then you get attacked, and you're surprised, and you think, oh, here comes one of those attacks. Now, let's see, what am I supposed to do? Oh yes, this is me. You know? And yet, if you kept your guard up all the time, you wouldn't let yourself get down in the bow wow like that. I mean, you really would. You really would.
Let's say like the vehicle's fighting you, and I'm trying to tell it to just not worry about it, but then it has them on, it tosses the tweezers on the table, or it tosses the hearing aid.
So what?
At that point, though, I've lost control, all right? For that period of time.
Well, you're not going to do it anymore.
You can stop it. You can pick it up and put it down more.
Next time one of those things happens, you're going to picture this monk who's sitting here talking. And you're going to get a grin on your face. And you're going to say, you're going to get a grin on your face and say, this isn't worth my getting upset about. And none of this is worth that. Because my task is how I handle that. My task is not making hearing. My task is when problems come to me in making hearing aids, how do I handle them? Because if I handle them by letting them get me down, I'm not doing it.
Every time somebody in the room has a similar experience, they throw their hearing aid against the wall.
That's their
problem. But it makes me think, see, if you had had more control yourself,
gosh, there's a lot of truth to that. There's a lot of truth, because you said it. You have minds many times as strong as the individuals that you work with in autocratic activity. And when you set a good example with your response and the way you handle things, it has an unbelievable effect on those around you. And it may not take root immediately. You may not be able to see it or the fruits of it right away. But if you consistently handle yourself right around others out there, it will have a tremendous effect. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to think, I'm going to send these thoughts to you and make you calmer. I'm going to send these thoughts to you and make you handle this in a better way. You simply do it yourself. And the thoughts will automatically be planted for them to be receptive to. You have a chance to fight. There's nothing wrong with saying to yourself, I mean, it sure would be nice if they kept their desk cleaner. Because you mean that, right? But that's not saying, I want you to keep your desk cleaner. You know, trying to send that thought over there. That's interfering with them. Because your mind is just strong, they don't really stand a chance. And your effort isn't to be spent that way. But there's nothing wrong with your deposit of thought. It would be nicer if the desk around here would kept one leader. And,
But you said to yourself,
yeah.
not out loud.
Oh, that's right, to yourself. Unless you're in a position where your job task requires that you give those directions.
Right, no, like,
Title? No, I think it's self-explanatory. Because you're only doing it in a circumstance where where things are preventing you to do what you're supposed to be doing. And that's where you can't be permitted to change your own instruction. So we have to get you out.
Question, that's true.
Okay.
One
One thing is, as like T says, if it's happened more than once or twice, you have an instruction because you're to be there on time to do it. But there's something more to it. And what I see here is that Liv Odie probably gets up thinking, or her vehicle thinks, what is it going to be today? Maybe not consciously, but what's going to get in my way today? You see what I'm saying? Because you don't want to anticipate those things. You don't want to think that things are going to happen. Now, you can have more fun if you get a different viewpoint. How am I going to, in spite of anything that might happen, not let my vibrations be changed and still get everything accomplished that I need to accomplish and not be delayed? In other words, I think unconsciously, a lot of times your vehicles anticipate getting trouble in certain areas, whether it's consuming or from a co-pilot or from dispatch or from somebody not getting out of the bath on time. You anticipate those things. And you're almost at times wonder, well, that's not going to happen. I wonder what it is that's going to happen to them to mess up my getting off on time or whatever it is.
And sometimes you can get too much into your own schedule.
That's right.
But if it's affected in any way, it can cause
and if I have those thoughts, I'm planning them. Somebody will pick up on me.
But the solution now is to write a note if it's happened more than 3 times. Let me ask you all some preparers, the ones who just finished the last experiment. Did anybody tell you thank you after they finished consuming? Do they still do that? That's good. Okay, the ones of you who deliver individual, you all take cars, don't you? Okay, some of you pilots who take cars, do the people who you deliver, do they thank you for taking your work? That's good. Okay, what else? No? Okay, how about when people come in from an out-of-practice? Are the ones who have been here happy to see them? Do you let them know it?
Or do you take it for granted?
I feel like a lot of times when I'm standing up,
He made it! He made it! One more day!
Okay, totally what you can. make them feel okay.
Well, I tell you, it really does help you feel good. If it's coming from all your pathways, and if it's regular, it can really keep the vibrations in good thing.
Now, how about the ones who are coming in from the autocratic test? Are you happy to see the ones here? But do you let them know? Other than fact,
Think what? Sanity again?
Sure. Well, I think I would say thank you.
Oh, I know that you have procedures to say thank you with the consumers, and I don't know why you wouldn't do when somebody's picking you up or anything else that somebody's. We do things for each other all the time and always say thank you. We never take each other for granted. We just, it doesn't feel right to take each other for granted. I don't feel like anything that T does for me that she's supposed to do it. You see what I'm saying? Or vice versa. Miller, do you have your hand up? Okay, well, glad we clarified that.
Well, if they're doing it, I wouldn't think anything bad of it.
I don't understand.
In other words, they come and sit down before the experiment's ready.
If maybe the experiment is beyond 5:20.
I don't know.
5:20? No, I think at 5:20 they're supposed to be seated. Isn't that the way the procedure is?
Yeah, if it's going to be delayed, because of what do we do if it's going to be delayed?
Before you sit down?
Yeah, but how do you know? How do you know? Because
That it was going to be delayed? Well, I think that's right, too. And I think what I was thinking of was that when I said you sit down at the appointed time, I was thinking of you don't not sit down when another consumer is late. You don't wait for a late consumer, right? But, yes, you go ahead and sit down. You don't wait for a late consumer. And even if everything's on the table, you still don't wait for a late consumer, right? Wait a minute. First experiment, you do wait?
First experiment,
You wait 2 minutes. Okay. And we have a procedure then that if the preparers tell you that it's going to be delayed a couple minutes, you wait to sit down.
now, I don't want to let this slip by what Bodie has brought up because I was going to talk to somebody there, and I think it's a good question. Is there a reason for the experiment to be late in the morning that would cause a person not to have their full time to consume? You want me to reword that?
That's good.
Okay. Bodie has, 15 minutes before you leave? when you consume it? And what time do you consume? So that gives her 13 minutes to consume. Now, if
And get out the door?
if the experiment is late, why is it late? Or why is it like the cereal isn't completely cooked, like it might be watery? Do we not have enough time to do all this? Or what? Can somebody who is on that lab crew answer? Well, I'll tell you something. I fix sometimes cereal, just one serving of cereal, and I don't have it down pat. And therefore, you shouldn't. And
In other words, you shouldn't count on it. You're going to have to allow for the time that it would take when it's slow. In other words, if it takes you, you say normally it takes you 8 minutes, but those times that it takes you longer, how long can it take? Okay, then I'd say 10 or 11. I would allow 10 or 11.
Because you can't adjust somebody's time for them. In other words, would you just put yourself in their position? Would you like it if you only had a few minutes to consume? Or if you did get something to consume, it was watery when the cereal isn't supposed to be that way?
How many you're consuming at the time? Just you? What, if there's only one consuming and they're allowed 10 or 11 minutes and it was ready at 8, couldn't she go ahead and consume it? Couldn't they inform her?
Well, the cereal is the thing that delays, right? And it can sit for a minute.
No.
But I don't know. I don't know what her time schedule is. So I don't know.
But see, she has 13 minutes from the time she sits down until she has to leave the door.
Well, are you through in time to consume cereal? Can you all serve her soon so she has more time?
What I'm saying is as soon as it's ready, why don't you say it's ready?
What time do you all go on duty in the lab?
Less than your time.
I think the crew needs to work on their strategy so that you won't serve a missed experiment. We can understand you're doing it once in a while. Not really, but I mean, we can say that, but not as often as you do it. It ought to be, I can understand it being too thick, but I can't understand it being water. You know what I'm saying? Because of the atmosphere, the humidity and all like that, it might become thicker, but I can't understand you not putting salt in or making it too watery.
What time is the Shakespeare Blues supposed to be done?
We've already gone.
What day are you?
Watery is just watery. It's running, but the cereal isn't supposed to be running. That's the only thing I can think of.
Too thick is when it's gummy. And well, when it's gummy, you know. And but it shouldn't just be. I don't know how else to say. Watery. Like, what do you add anything to your cereal? What can you add? Okay, if you add honey and butter, and the cereal is so thin that by the time you add the honey and butter, it has become watery, and it wasn't thick enough to start. It ought to still have a little thickness to it, unless you're adding too much.
You're not supposed to eat it like soup. You're not supposed to eat it like soup.
Well, I know, but if it's borderline watery, a teaspoon of honey will really make it.
It melts the mix.
glad you said that. You know, because we have the maximum time, you know, a little extra, like folks, we have that extra. But you got to do it, you just said that, you just charge $11 on the food in your lower rack. It's hot, so that it's ready. Put it on the table, two pieces of fruit toast, could be ready to take home, but just get cut. You have no extra time. Just get it done. Like zero, let's go ahead. 15, that's one. And get that 12. Now we go back to it.
Why is it being covered?
That's not zero,
People?
I don't know why it would get too thick if it has only a couple of minutes to sit, and if you're going to add something to it. It might appear to be slightly thick until you add a little honey or butter to it, but it's not going to be, unless it's sat an awful long time.
For a couple of minutes with it, but sometimes it helps to make it more done. If you put a top on it, right? I don't think a couple of minutes, but if you're, in other words, you want
If you leave it on the burner after stuff,
Sometimes you do.
well, that's your problem because it's cooking more than it should cook. But if it's only going to sit there a minute or two, and turn your burner off or move it to a burner that's not hot, because the pot will keep it hot enough if it's only a minute or two. What's that? Would it stay that hot? It may probably, but as long as your flame's
You have
on.
gas? Yes, if it's electric, it
But
would
you
be
keep they keep the fire on.
No, turn it.
Oh, okay.
I didn't understand. We turn it on.
Okay.
Some buildings built up in a little holder, holds the pot. You can create a piece of the oil on the burner completely, just to get it
Well, that doesn't matter.
You got a little cast iron.
What do you dine to say? Well, that's because we're trying to have it that way. It's because Lynx has given them instruction to try to do it.
See, I heard some of them, how many, I don't understand that kind of action with the fruit. We believe,
Yeah,
not
because the
some
crew
of
should
them,
all
because
try.
it sounds like some of you all aren't working as a fruit. We believe there's nothing wrong with saying, we felt like we wanted to cut out the time element and try to have it ready. But for some of us, and for some of us in this, some of us feel like taking the pot off.
Sounds
Some of
like a
us don't.
conflict in the crew.
You're not a crew. You are just a bunch of humans in there working together,
Yeah.
playing like you're who you think you
The
are.
first day that you found some differing opinions should have been the time that your procedure should have been solved and resolved, so that there was not a second day of having conflicting ideas.
Now, working in the lab isn't where some have ideas on doing it one way and some have ideas on doing it another way. It's just like we got a note from somebody the other day where I believe someone set the table, and then somebody else came along and changed it and said, this is the way we did it in the Southwest. And it was right after we talked about doing that particular thing.
Right after we talked about it, don't say we did it this way at one craft and that way at the other.
Which means that where is that person's mind that time of the day?
But they
That
don't
changed
recall.
it, that they
Yeah.
could, in other words, the vehicle was the one that was doing it, not their mind. And if you want to work together as a crew, you all agree upon how to do it. Some of us don't decide. Some of us do decide. Some of us feel this way. Some of us feel the other way. That is all human talk. Either you work together as a crew, or you figure out how to, you have to work as a crew.
You just have to resolve your problem, that's all. You have to do it quickly.
Some of us take the pot off of the burner, some of us don't. You know whose talking there? Whose ideas are those? that's the vehicle's way of doing something. And really and truly, I don't care how you do it. But this is the way I do it. Now, if you want to do it the way I do it, then that's fine. And there will be two of us doing it the way that I do it. That's human talk.
Yeah.
That's not next level talk. Is this the way we do it? We do it first the way that procedures have been given to you to do, right? You do not do it if there are 5 of you in the lab. All 5 of you do not get together and decide how you're going to do it according to your vehicle. You do it the way the procedures have been set down. And if you don't have a procedure on something like what to do with the pot after you turn the burner off, then you all can agree upon it. Because you don't really need a procedure from me. You can make that decision on your own. But some of you don't do it, and some of you do. I'm just using that as an example. Some of us felt like cutting back on the time. Where were the other some of you? You see what I'm saying? Were you all asleep when they decided that? How did you feel? And why was it that you let them get away with it? You see what I'm saying? Then you can say, well, what were we supposed to do? Fight with them? And say that wasn't right? What you should do is say, maybe we need to come to a common agreement. We've got to feel, all of us have to feel that it's right. And work it out. If that doesn't work, you have a procedure to write a note to set free. Say, we have a problem, we don't have a problem. Can you help us? But you don't work as a split crew. It does not work in the next level when you're doing it. Your mind is not in your vehicle. You are working as humans and you're wasting all of that time. Now remember, the ones of you who work in the craft, you have tasks. Just because you don't get in a car or a vehicle and you go out and work in another area, it doesn't mean that you do not have a task. And if you're working in the lab, if you're working in fiber lab, if you're working out on grounds, if you're working in the pool area, if you're working on vehicles, whatever you do, you are to do it as a member of the next level and send out thoughts and do your task and do it the best way that you can. If you don't, you're wasting your time. And you, why waste time? You all want to get out of here as much as we do. So why waste time? Why don't you do it? And it all works out.
So, to put it real short, is if you have disagreement on your crew and you cannot immediately resolve it, you ask for help from Savitri on resolving the problem. And if they can't, and they immediately inform us of what they did about it. And if we don't agree with what they did about it, then we interfere or we intercede or whatever it is and try to solve it for you.
And you
but
don't.
You do not continue to exist as
some of us
disagree.
Believe this and some of us believe that. You do not say, you do not take the initiative and say, I believe that we could cut back on the time that the serial takes to